Hey, what is going on, you guys? Today I thought I would teach you how to put a Fender Eliminator kit on a Yamaha R3. Behind me is my R3 and I'm going to put a Fender Eliminator kit on it, so I thought I'd take you guys through the steps if you're looking at doing it, and hopefully this video helps you out. So I'm going to be using the R&G Tail Tidy. Now there's heaps of different brands out there for tail tidies. You got Graves, you got the list goes on, but this is the one that I'm going with. It's got the number plate light and everything incorporated, and it uses the factory turn signals as well. So let's start getting into it. Firstly, what you want to do is you want to get your key. That's a good start. Then you want to stick it in the back where the boot is and just get your seat off. Pull that out of there and sit your seat off to the side. Next you want to undo these two 4mm Allen key bolts. They might be a little bit tight, which they're not. Just undo them. They're like a quarter turn sort of thing. Put them in a bolt tray. Next, what you want to do is you want to slowly just pry these sides out. So you pry this one out and that one out, and this piece will pop out. So I'll do that now. Like that. And like that. That just slides out like that. Now sit this somewhere where it's not going to get scratched or damaged. So next you want to grab your 8mm socket or wrench, and you want to undo your two 8mm nuts here to remove the driver's seat. Make note, guys, they may be very tight from factory. Sometimes these factory fasteners are done up very tight. And make sure you don't drop any of the bolts or anything down into the bike. Fasteners in a safe place. This seat just lifts up and pulls back like that. Has a little tab here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little tab that clips in under the tank here. The reason why you wanted to do that is you want to get into this wiring here, because this has got your turn signals, and you've got to actually feed this out and out through down out the back here. Next, what you want to do is you want to remove this little luggage tray or parcel tray. So these are just little, they're classed as, I call them scrivets. So you just turn them like a quarter of a turn and they just pop out. Because the bike is damn near brand new, it's a great time to actually pull this stuff out because it comes out really easy. There's one and two, and you just pull this tray out like that. Or you can just drop it down off to the side, because mine has up here has a battery charging port. It's got one of those battery saver charging ports in the boot. Also, this is a great time if you're doing this and you've had the bike for a while. It's a good time to check the battery, because your battery's here along with all your other wiring and components in here. But because this is new, it's I don't need to check any of that. So your bike may have this little plastic sheath holding the wiring. Some bikes don't have the little plastic sheath holding the wiring in, and some bikes do. I've heard some people say that they do have it, other people say that they don't have it. So next you want to try and locate your wiring, which your wiring runs down under here, so you're going to have to pull up your starter relay and get in under here. This is the number plate light, so disconnect that. And then here, it pays to actually start the bike up, or not start the bike up. It pays to turn the ignition on and find out which indicator is what. My bike's got a few more wires because it's got the battery charging, little charging port on it, which came standard on the bike, which is pretty cool. We'll find out which indicator is what. So that's the left indicator. So the brown is left and the green is right. There you just feed the wiring up out of the way. So the brown is the left, the green is the right, so you got to remember that, because I'll be still using the factory turn signals, which you can change them out if you wish. And now I just undo these 4 bolts and the whole thing will drop out. Now all you have to do is undo these 4 10mm bolts. One there, there's one up the top and one there. So there's one there, one there, one there, and one there. Now with the last bolt, you just want to put your hand underneath and support after they're all cracked. You got to be careful too, because sometimes these factory fasteners can be quite tight. And don't drop any of the nuts. Don't drop your nuts. because you don't want to do that. But don't drop any nuts down into the bike. Just trying to get it out later will be a bit of a pain there. You just feed everything out like so. So we're going to strip this down, undo these, and get into the internals so we can pull all the wiring out. So we'll put it over to the normal Fender Eliminator and then start putting it back on the bike. So now what you got to do is you got to start with the disassembly of the stock Fender unit. If you are not using the actual stock indicators, then you probably won't have to pull this apart at all. You can just go straight onto your Fender Eliminator and put the lights, like the aftermarket lights that you were going to install on your bike, straight onto the Eliminator and straight back up in, and you don't actually need to pull this apart. But if you want those stock turn signals like what I do, we're going to have to do it this way. So what you want to do is you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those scrivets. That's what I call them. You just quarter of a turn. You need 2 hands. What you do is just support one side of it and twist, and you'll just hear it go pop, and it won't clip. So I'll undo these and I'll get back to you. Once you undo all these, if they are being a little bit stubborn, because sometimes they do get stubborn, you can put like a flat blade screwdriver under there or a pick and just slightly pry it and lift up, and it'll lift up. And once that's off, you set that aside. Now make sure you keep all these fasteners, guys, like keep everything. Even if it doesn't go back on the bike, keep it, because these stock fasteners are great. You never know when you might need a fastener for the bike, and most of the time Yamaha and Honda and everything, they charge a fortune for them. So keep what you take off the bike, even the Eliminator, even the Fender itself, keep that and set it aside. Now what you want to undo these 6 Allen key bolts. Now I'm pretty sure they're 4mm like they were up here on the seat, and you also want to undo these 2 Phillips heads as well. So bear in mind, guys, these may be very tight. I have heard that these, oh yeah, you're going to have to really reef on them. These things are designed not to come off. Just bear in mind you might have to put some muscle into it, and make sure you do not round them, because if you round them off, you got 2 hopes of trying to get them out of there. Once you get all these undone, you want to undo these 2 Phillips heads here, and there's a Phillips head there, the indicator, and a Phillips head there on the other side with the other indicator. You want to undo these, and this whole center panel will come off. So let's do that now. Now once you've undone all your fasteners, so you've undone the 2 ones next to the indicators here, you've done the 2 here, you've done all the ones down the center here, you'll now notice that it's really flimsy and really light to pull out. You just lift this top piece, just grab it on the spine there, and set that aside. Like I said, you've got a couple of washers in here, so make sure you don't lose them. Now in this part here, you've got all your wiring. So all you want to get to is your 2 indicators here, and leave the number plate wiring there, because that's going to stay. Just center number plate light, just pull that wiring out the way and set it aside, and then you'll be able to get these 2 indicator wiring out. So nice and simple. Now when it actually comes to the indicators themselves, they are really easy to remove. You just lift up the tab here and pry this, it's like a little disc, you just pry that out the way, and you just slide that all the way off the edge of the wiring and set that aside. And then the indicator itself, because it's like a real pliable rubber, just squeeze that and pry it out the hole like that. Really simple. And make sure you don't drop them or break them, because I would imagine that Yamaha would want quite a lot of money for these indicators. But first, before you even get started, you want to make sure that you've got everything. You've got your instructions, you've got all your wiring, you've got everything you need to get the job done. If it's not in the box, then you're going to have to go back to wherever you brought it and try and get it all the mounting hardware and everything put into the box, or get another one sent out. Now you want to start putting everything back on to this Eliminator here. First off, you'll notice that this thing is like super light compared to that big bulky thing down there. This is like a fraction of the size and a fraction of the weight, so you're going to actually get a good weight saving with this as well. So first off, you want to figure out, are you going to use your LED lights or are you going to run the factory Yamaha lights, because that determines on what mounting you're actually going to set up in the indicator section. So now you need to figure out which mounting hardware you actually need for your application. Now these are for the LED, or the smaller lights, so they're not for the OE Yamaha lights, but these ones up here that are actually like an O-ring looking thing are for the OE Yamaha lights, because they sit in here and they space it out so it sits nice and firm actually in the Fender Eliminator. Now if you're using the factory Yamaha lights, it's going to be a little bit fiddly, but what you have to do is get this spacer in between the indicator itself down in there and the actual eliminator, and then you put your normal spacer like that back in, exact reversal of how it came out of your fender there. So once you got your indicator installed, guys, this is what it should look like. So you should have your spacer on the inside there, so there's the metal, that's the spacer there, this is your indicator, and then you just insert your normal mounting hardware that you used from the other fender over here. So when you actually go to install that, it is going to be tight, it's going to be actually fiddly, and you just have to take your time with it. But when you actually go to install this, make sure this is facing inwards. Don't have it facing outwards like that, because that's not right. If you paid attention on how it actually came apart, you'd know that it was like that. Make sure that you actually put it back that way, because you don't want these coming loose and falling out where you ride, because it gets stuck in your tyre. It could go anywhere. So once you got your two indicators installed, they're nice and firm and you know they're not going to come out, you want to move on to the number plate light. So obviously the number plate light goes here. You've got all your mounting hardware. The good thing that R&G actually do is they supply you with the OE plug adapter, so you don't have to do any cutting or soldering or anything along those lines, especially if you don't want to be touching the wiring on your bike. They actually supply this for you, which is pretty neat. That's pretty nice of them. So when you go to install your little number plate light, all the wiring just goes straight in through the bigger hole, and then this locates with its two little studs here and through there. Now R&G actually give you, it's like a cover or a shield, or I don't know what it's meant to be, to go over the top. I don't know if it's meant to help the number plate light or what it is. I'd have to actually read up about it, but they give you that as well. I'm probably not going to put it on, just due to I like the real slimline look. Just want to get your two little 6mm nuts, they're tiny, and just start them on the back of the number plate light there. You have two studs protruding at the back of the light, which come through, and you just finger tight them. Now it doesn't come with any spring washers or anything along those lines, so you don't have to do this up super tight, guys, because you will break it. Just have a look at it, flip it around, make sure it looks pretty much straight. Your best way to sort of line it up is you got the actual line here where the number plate would go, and you just tweak it slightly and then lightly tighten it up with, it's like a screwdriver with the hex piece for a socket, or even a spanner or a shifter. Just do not do it tight, because you will snap it. It will not take much to snap these, they're too thin. So once you've got it all lined up where you want it, and you've tightened it in the back, if you are actually worried about that coming undone or whatever, you can put small little spring washers in there, or you could even double nut it. So you put actually a nut on the back of that, and it will just be a protectant, but the chances of it coming off are pretty slim. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure all your wires are running neatly towards this bigger hole in the center here. Then you want to locate your grommet, in which you got with your kit, which has got a, as you can see, a cutout there. A good quick easy tip with actually pushing the wiring through the grommet, you use one wire to follow the other wire. So you just push, you start the hole originally with one wire, and then you just slowly start feeding them through. It is a tedious process, you just got to take your time. Don't get angry with it, because you will damage the wiring and then you're going to get even more angry. Now once you've got all your wiring run and it goes up in through your grommet, it should look a little bit like this. A little bit messy at the moment. But next you want to get into actually mounting it back under the tail. You got your 4 mounting bolts here, and they actually give you the hardware there to supplied to do it. So you get your mounting screws, which are down here, and you also get the spacers. But you would use the original 4 nuts that you pulled off your original Fender. So once you've got the actual Fender Eliminator sitting up, or tail tidy sitting up where you want it to be, and you've got your bolts all going through up into the compartment here. Now one thing you will have to muck around with is the grommet. You have to actually put it through the little port here, which can be a bit of a pain, so just take your time with it and eventually you'll get it. But now once you've got all that and you've got your spacers, there's a couple of spacers that go under the nuts here. Nothing better than a spacer under your nut. You want to get your 4mm Allen key, and you want to sit it in there like that. And then you want to get your 10mm ratchet or wrench or whatever you want to call it, and just go onto your 10mm nut there and tighten it up evenly. You just go around like a diagonal sort of pattern until they're all nice and firm, nice and tight. You can actually choose to put a bit of Loctite on them if you do want to go that route, just prevent them falling off. Now what you want to do, guys, is you just want to feed your wiring back through. So it's the same process, but for the number plate light, you just want to clip this in. You just want to clip the number plate light in and see if it works. If it works, it's all good, because some kits, the R&G kits, they muddled up the wiring for some models, so the positive and negative was around the wrong way. So you just want to test that and make sure that that's all good. Mine's all fine, so we'll turn the ignition off. Now once you've got all your wiring connected back up again and it's back in its little sheath, if yours has that, you want to turn the ignition on. You want to check that the left hand indicator goes to the left, right hand indicator goes to the right, it cancels, and that you've also got all your number plate light and everything like that. So you want to make sure all your lighting and everything's working before you start putting the rest back together. After you make sure all your lighting and everything's working, so your number plate light's working, your indicators are working, and they're flashing to the right side, you want to put it back together in the exact reversal of pulling it apart. You want to put your tray back in, put the 2 little clips, your little scrivets or clips to hold that back in. If you've got one of these battery charging kits, you want to cable tie that back up out the way how it was originally. Now really reinstalling these little scrivets is really easy. You just literally locate, they push the whole way through, so they push through your little tray here and into the actual frame of the bike. So then you just do that and just literally push, and they clip down and they lock in. That's all firm, all done. The tray's really easy to put in. It just locates in the back here with a little tab. It's got a tab in the back, and then just make sure this is over the actual starting relay, and make sure that relay is all pushed down properly in where it's meant to be. Now after you've done that, guys, it's all installed. Everything's sitting back where it's meant to be in the back there. You now want to install the driver's seat. So this tab here, this one right here, locates just down in here. So it clips in, and then you just do your 2 8mm nuts on the back here. Now when it comes to tightening down these bolts, guys, just do them up firm, don't over tighten them, because you will strip them or break them, and then you're going to have a bad day. So once that's clipped in there, that tongue goes in there, that's fine, and then you just do up the 2 little 8mm bolts in the back. Now when it comes to doing this plate, it just sits down in there like that. So it'll just sit there like that, and then all you do is you see this tab here, you just lightly pry out. You just lightly pry out with this guard here. Slightly, just pry it with your finger, and it will just pull back like that, and you'll just hear it clip in like that. And that's sitting in now where it's meant to be. Get your 4mm Allen key bolts, you start them, and then you get your 4mm Allen key T-piece or wrench or whatever you're using to actually do them up, and just tighten them up firm but not too tight. The clips that the thread screws into, and they will round out really easy. Now all that's left to do now, guys, is just literally put on the passenger seat, which you slide forward and then just push down on it. So guys, that concludes my video for the Yamaha R3 Fender Eliminator or Tail Tidy from R&G. If you have any questions about it, feel free to shoot it in the comment section. If you like the video, guys, give it a huge thumbs up, go ham on it, it means a lot to me. Also, you can check out the unboxing of this product as well. I've got a video for that. Also guys, check out my channel. I do moto vlogging and other cool stuff, so if you want to join the ride, you can subscribe. And until next time guys, peace.